So here we are back at Newcastle United's training ground, a little bit more hidden than last time after we got asked to leave because of overtime. So we're hidden round the corner, shall we say. Having just heard from Eddie Howe ahead of that Manchester City game, the big talking point, first of all, Dom, Lewis Hall. What did Eddie Howe say?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's as good as a done deal. Eddie Howe confirming a loan. He said he likes the player, great potential, versatile as well, which by Eddie Howe's standards is effectively confirming it. I even joked, we have an embargo with our press conferences, 10 o'clock you're allowed to put the things out, and I joked that Newcastle would announce a signing at 10 o'clock. They haven't done that, but he said see what happens today. He's a player he obviously very much admires, and he spoke even about Chelsea's willingness to do the deal, having previously been a bit tricky customers with Newcastle in terms of doing business. Wait for the train.
Uncut.
Yeah, but Newcastle, Eddie Howe also spoke about the fact Newcastle's recent transfers. You look at this potential one with Lewis Hall, Tino Livramento, Harvey Barnes to an extent, Anthony Gordon. They're very much signing players for the future, Jordan. And Eddie Howe spoke about that, and asked a question about Alexander Isak and the fact they paid 63 million for him last summer, club record transfer fee. Nowadays it's starting to look like a bargain in hindsight, and I think with players like Lewis Hall, a loan obligation to buy, Tino Livramento, that 30 million mark in a couple of years time could start to look like a bargain if you're planning for the future.
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, if you look at the other side in terms of the signed Tino Livramento, you've got a right back and a left back there who could potentially be England internationals in the next 3 to 4 years. So you can see the way Eddie Howe was trying to plan for the future, which was sort of asked today. He was asked, are you planning now? Are you planning for today and tomorrow? And he did say yes to that. So you can see that the transfer policy and what they're trying to do. A lot of the players have signed have been English under 25. So you mentioned Harvey Barnes there. I think he is he 25?
Just 25.
Just 25. So just reflecting on Newcastle's sort of transfer window as a whole. That was a question I asked as well about Newcastle United's summer transfer window, and Eddie Howe did confirm that this would be sort of the last signing if they are to get Lewis Hall over the line, and he'd admit he'd be very pleased with that. Ideally, and probably want more, as any manager does, but I think the business Newcastle have done this summer transfer window would be, I think, 130 million spent, obviously Lewis Hall included, and that would be 160, but that'll be backdated to next summer because of the loan with an obligation to buy. But I think it's been a really, really positive window for Newcastle United, and moving on to Man City as well. Have Newcastle went into a game against Manchester City better equipped? Certainly from my point of view. I think in terms of this Newcastle team, in terms of me, it's the most belief I've ever felt going into a game against Manchester City that they can get a result. Do you agree with that, Don?
Yeah, I probably do, and I think it ties in with your question a little bit. Man City have played away against Sevilla, a good team, in Greece on Wednesday night. Pep Guardiola not happy with the sort of scheduling of that. They'll be travelling back Thursday or Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Only day training really today, and then they're playing Newcastle tomorrow, which Eddie Howe was asked about that by you, Jordan, and his answer, he sort of just knocked it back a little bit.
Yeah, he did. He said he did sympathise with Pep because they only see him playing in midweek. But then a follow-up question that ultimately asked that Newcastle are going to have to deal with that in a few weeks' time when their Champions League campaign starts. So he did sympathise with Pep, but also sort of played it down because, look, when Newcastle United have got 2 games a week, I don't expect Eddie Howe to be a man that's going to be making excuses. He wants his team to challenge themselves and really push themselves for these 2 games a week. I think he's got a squad now. Asked about strength and depth, I think he has got a squad there that can compete with 2 games a week. You look at certain areas of the pitch that there's perhaps where they need to improve in quality, but they have got the ability now to field 2 11s, and it's certainly a squad game this season.
We'll be back. We'll be joined by Liam as ever at the Etihad Stadium. Big game, as we say. We're going into it with a lot more confidence than we have in previous trips to the Etihad, considering Newcastle have lost the last 14 games there. So anything other than a defeat would be seen as a bonus, and would certainly start to raise some eyebrows for Newcastle, and you start looking a bit more than a Champions League team. Early days yet, but we'll be there tomorrow, so catch that video there. And as always, like, share, subscribe, and thanks for watching the Geordie Journos.